everyone. My name's Mickey Iqbal. I'm an IBM fellow and an IBM master inventor. I want to thank you all for being here today. I wanted to especially thank Adapt for giving us the opportunity to come and talk to you and tell you a little bit about our point of view around platforms, digitization, and architecting disruption. So the topic of my talk today is around how do we architect disruption, especially in this world today, where digitization is happening at hyper speed. Organizations are not ready to catch up. Investments may or may not be there. And how do you do that, specifically using cognitive computing, automation, and then the promise of a hybrid cloud? How do you realize that? What I'm going to talk about today is our experience building digital platforms as a service for our clients across the globe. So just a little bit about myself. I've been with IBM for about 18 years, and I lead a global team of technologists and architects and inventors that work with clients all over the world, and we develop the next generation computing technologies and systems for them. As we work with clients across the globe, we are working in industries such as retail, manufacturing, government, education, aerospace, financial, banking services, pretty much end-to-end all the industries. And what we are seeing is that every single industry is facing a lot of disruption. Now, disruption is actually something that we happen to feel everywhere. There's lots of disruption going on everywhere because of socioeconomic factors, because of geopolitical factors. But what's happening in the industry, in the business industry, is also very, very interesting. And certainly we are seeing some of the statistics that there are certain companies that used to be the glorified Fortune 500 that don't exist anymore. And there are good reasons for that. There are new entrants that have disrupted the marketplace. There are old business models that have just not thrived. And there are companies who are just not agile, just not flexible enough to make the right change at the right time, using the right set of architectures, designs, and planning. So while there are many, many factors that contribute to disruption in the business environment, what we are seeing is that there are three that are especially playing a very, very important role. So the first factor that we think is very, very disruptive for all businesses and organizations is this explosion that's happened in the space of data. The amount of data that's been created over the last 3 years is more than the data that was created since the beginning of mankind. By some surveys a couple of years ago, they said the data that's out in the world is about 4.4 zettabytes. The zettabyte is about 10 to the power 21 bytes. But by 2020, that's going to be 10 times more. That's going to be 44 zettabytes. Now, that's great to have all that data, but the challenge that that data poses is that 80% of it is what we call dark data. And dark data means it's unstructured, it's video, it's noise, it's text, it's blogs, it's tweets, it's your Facebook posts, it's your sensors giving out information, but it's also carrying a lot of great insight, which we're not able to tap into using the traditional computing that we have. The second factor that we think is causing a lot of disruption is that the world around us is being redefined in code. So when was the last time we walked into a travel reservation agency to book our travel, or we went into a bank to withdraw money, or we went for general type of services? Somebody was telling me once that, Mickey, maybe the only service you go in for is a haircut, and I said, not anymore. So if you think about it, there's new type of masons, there are new developers, there are new builders of this digital economy that are leveraging new digital tools, they're leveraging the data. The data that poses a lot of challenges, the exponential growth, a lot of dark data also has a lot of opportunity in them. And so these builders of tomorrow, these digital architects, these planners and designers are using that data to create completely new business models. They are disrupting industries all the way from banking and finance to government and education to retail to manufacturing. And what we're seeing, of course, as part of that, is there's a lot of new entrants that are coming into the market. Obviously, the largest accommodation provider today in the world does not own a single piece of real estate. The largest travel company or the travel provider or Uber does not own a single car. So there's a lot of new business processes that have emerged, new businesses that have emerged out of this digitization and the influx of data. So this data brings us to the third challenge, the third factor that's causing a lot of disruption. If you think about the computing that exists today, and I'm from IBM, so I'm going to talk a lot about computing, but I'm going to talk about organization and processes and other stuff as well, but most of my focus is going to be on computing. The computing that we use up till today, most of it was based on the von Neumann architecture, which was designed in 1945 by a Princeton mathematician. And it has just 4 tenets to it. There's the input-output model, there's memory, there's the arithmetic logic unit, and then there's the control unit. And this computing architecture till today is serving the needs of all of our organizations. But as this massive explosion of data has occurred, it's just impossible for that architecture to scale up. Because with this vast amounts of data, I mean, by some statistics, there's going to be 250 million connected cars by 2020. There's about 5 billion machine-to-machine interacted devices right now. That's going to grow to about 30 billion in about the next 6 or 7 years. So with all of this new data, the new insights that are available, the traditional von Neumann architecture does not scale up. It cannot handle that kind of computing. And that's why there is what used to be a dirty word for some of us that studied AI 30 years ago when it never really did anything, has now become sexy again. And so cognitive computing is a third disruptor that is really, really changing how companies are innovating and what they're doing. Now, I talk to a lot of clients across the globe as we develop their next generation of architecture. And they're all looking at the Ubers and the Airbnbs and other disruptors of the world. They all want to do something like that in their own business model that would be very, very disruptive. But the question is, are you thinking about disruption the right way? And if you're not thinking about it the right way, then what is the right way? So my talk today is a little bit about, at least our point of view, which we have developed based on our interactions and working with a lot of different clients, on how we address disruption for our clients across the globe, and then to kind of describe to you the platform that we have built, which we call the Enterprise IT as a Service platform, which is powered by cognitive computing, how we are using that to address the needs of our clients. So some of these clients that I talk to all across the globe, they share some common aspirations, and I want to tell you what those aspirations are, at least some of those. So they say, look, we are an enterprise, but we really want to move at the speed of an agile digital startup. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we've got all these regulatory, all these government compliance and security constraints that we must meet as well. We want to be open, we want to be accessible, we want to be flexible, we want to make sure that anybody, anywhere that needs to consume our services using any device should be able to access us. But at the same time, we want this infrastructure to be robust, we want it to be resilient, and we want to make sure that from a security perspective, all the threats are taken care of. We want to be able to do things at the speed of light. We want to be able to have agile development. We want to be able to respond to new business models. We want to be able to introduce new business models. We want to be able to change promotions if we have to from our marketing department, or do new things in response to a government audit or a regulation very, very quickly. But at the same time, we need to make sure that nothing that we do disrupts the ongoing operations. We are an airline. We cannot afford that the clients are waiting outside trying to check in bags and they can't get a baggage ticket, stuff like that. So these are kind of the aspirations that we hear about. And what we are finding is that more and more these clients are working with us, and others as well, to use cognitive computing and a hybrid cloud approach to address how they get to these aspired states. So what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about some of these case studies where we have worked with clients to get them to that aspired state. So first case study is about a large American US-based retailer, North Face. And they operate in about 40 different states in the United States. They, I think, have about 100,000 employees, lots and lots of stores. And they have their, some multi-omni-channel sales. They do web-based marketing. They have online presence, mobile presence, but they also have stores where clients go in. Now, if you're like me, when I go into a store and I want to shop, I'm like a deer caught in headlights sometimes because I don't know where anything is. And I really need help from somebody at the store to tell me to find something which I'm looking for. And what these guys figured out was that they were having a lot of lost sales because as customers were coming to their store, they were not able to perhaps find the right things, or they would not have the right assistance, or did not have a consistent customer experience in trying to make a purchase. So they'll walk into the store, they'll look around for a little bit, and then they'll walk out without making a sale. So they worked with us to create an application which, as the client walks in, could be on their mobile phone, and it's not an app they have to download. It's a URL that they can go to, and it becomes immediately active. And then based on your presence, it will tell you which store you're in, and if you tell them what you're looking for, it'll tell you where it is, what aisle to go to, what are some of the other products that you might be interested in, et cetera, et cetera. So using design thinking methodologies based on user experiences and then powered by our artificial intelligence technology and using a cloud-based platform, we were able to provide North Face with a capability that helped them not only retain clients, but also increase sales. So they started off doing this with a pilot set of stores in the US, and now they're expanding with that. The second example I want to give you is a company called Coney. And Coney, they make lifts or elevators. I don't know what you call them in Australia and the US, lifts or elevators. But they say that they are in the people flow business. And they are managing the flow of people from one place to another. And they also were having issues and challenges because they're one of the largest lift makers in the world. And sometimes there would be maintenance required on these lifts, or something would go wrong, and then people would be stuck in the lifts, or they'll have issues related to that. So based, again, on the Watson technologies that we've got, artificial intelligence, we developed predictive algorithms for them that would predict a failure of a lift before it was going to happen. It would actually predict the probability with which a specific component was going to fail and when it was going to fail. And when that would happen, the lift would actually make a call back to the maintenance team asking, I need you to come and fix this before this becomes a problem. And so what they saw from a business metrics perspective was that there was a lot more decrease in outages that they were seeing, and they were able to keep this people flow business going very, very smoothly. And certainly they're having a lot of success in the marketplace because they were able to use data and innovate with it, and using their imagination and then the platforms that we provided them, come up with a new business model. The third company is based in Australia. It's called Woodside. It's one of the largest private oil and gas companies here. And how many are familiar with Woodside here? Just a raise of hands. Okay, fantastic. So, Woodside is an engineering company. They've got a lot of expertise, but they've also got engineers that have been there for a very long time, and they do an excellent job of figuring out where to drill, and then they've got a lot of experience within their company in order to make the right engineering and technical decisions. But as the employees age and this population rolls off, there's new people coming in, and they just don't have the same experience. They don't have the same learning that some of their seniors had in order to address or anticipate some of the issues and make the right engineering calls. And if in their business you don't make the right engineering call, you don't make the right technical and architectural decision, you end up losing a lot of money. So we worked with them again based on our enterprise IT as a service platform, our cloud technologies, and artificial intelligence to develop this system which actually codifies the experience of all of those engineers. So if I'm a new engineer and I'm facing an engineering problem, I could go to that system. It's a lessons learned kind of a AI system that would help me figure out where has this sort of a problem happened before in the last 30 years, who solved it, how did they solve it, And how many times has it occurred since then, et cetera, et cetera. So again, this is the knowledge base that we created, and now it's run on artificial intelligence powered by our enterprise IT as a service cloud platform. So these are just some examples of how clients, rather than getting disrupted by the innovation that's happening around them, are working on innovating so that they could be the disruptors. So some of the common things, some of the common lessons that we've seen come from these clients is that, first of all, in order to be able to win, they have to focus on creating new business processes, new models. They could be new revenue models. They could be new market penetration models. They could be models that help them compete better. And then these models are resulting in new types of applications and services, just like the case that I described to you earlier. We also are learning that these companies are harnessing data, this massive explosion of data, and innovating with it, gathering insights so that they can use it to their advantage. Coney, they're gathering all the lift data, all the sensor data, so that they can predict when a failure is going to happen. Similarly, Woodside is gathering all the engineering data, all the technical data to make the right technical decisions. And they've innovated with the data that they've had. They've developed a new use case over it using the new platform and the technologies that are now available to them. And finally, what we're seeing is that all of these disruptive applications, in this new digital world that are creating new business models, that are creating new revenue streams, that are helping organizations compete, or they're helping organizations disrupt others, are born on the cloud or are running on the cloud. So you've got to have that right, robust cloud infrastructure that helps you move forward. Okay, so I talked about architecture. The right architecture is extremely, extremely important for anybody to innovate. And the reason for it is simply the following. A lot of times when we've seen companies disappear or not succeed, it's because they did not have the right plans in place, they didn't have the right architecture and the design in place that would help them be agile and nimble enough to respond to changes as they were happening. So if you could come up with an architecture that's driven by data, and in today's world, given how much data we have, is driven by artificial intelligence and cognitive technologies, and it's built upon the right cloud infrastructure that allows you to work in a traditional IT or a public cloud or a private cloud environment equally seamlessly, then you will gain a lot of benefit. But there are some additional reasons why we must focus on the architecture as well. Remember when I talked to you a little bit about the insights that we've gained from the clients? They said we want to be agile, we want to be flexible, we want to be accessible, but at the same time we want to be robust, we want to be secure, we want to be always on. We don't think that we can afford any kind of outage. What that means is that the services and the applications that they're running, they have multiple attributes. These attributes are fast, scale, agile, extensible type of attributes, but they also, save my core business, make sure it's robust, resilient, it does not fail. So for all of these reasons, to address all of these attributes, we think that having the right architecture is very, very important. And as we go through some of the other examples that I'm going to give you, you'll understand why I'm saying that. Okay, so as we talk about architectures and technology, we at IBM are big lovers of technology. We've been doing technology forever. Myself, I'm a technologist, but I'm the first one who's going to raise my hand and say technology is not the solution for every problem. And especially in the case of having the right digital platform, being able to address all the different tenets and the needs that I described earlier that our clients have, we don't think that technology alone can do it. So we actually, I built this chart working with the CIO of a very large US-based client. And the challenge that that CIO was facing was, he said, my line of businesses don't buy IT from me anymore. I'm centralized IT. They consider me very, very slow. They have choices that I cannot fulfill. They have timelines that I cannot fulfill. And they've started to go outside and buy directly from different service providers. So they have different SaaS applications running that marketing has bought from somewhere. They have finance doing their own thing, et cetera. He said, I really need to change. I really need to be able to make a change where instead of being a CIO who's the provider of IT widgets, I want to be a broker of IT services. So that's the shift I want to make, Mickey. What do we need to do? And so there was a lot of discussions we had, and we came to the conclusion that there were 4 very, very important fundamental tenets that we need to have in order to have a successful brokerage-based IT as a service environment. The first one of these is services, right? So today, if you look at any traditional organization and you look at their service catalog, it's populated with IT widgets. It's compute nodes and different T-shirt sizes of compute nodes. It's storage and different T-shirt sizes of storage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Rather than having these IT widgets as part of the service catalog, what we worked together was to say, we want to have business services in these catalogs, which are directly the ones that the line of businesses need. Because if we could equate what we provide from an IT perspective directly and map those to the business services that the line of businesses want to consume, that they will know exactly what they're getting. And then for each one of these business services, we need to be able to offer it at different tiers using different service levels. Not all services need to be on 24/7, and therefore they may have different service levels associated with them. So again, we had to change the service catalog from being an IT widgets-based service catalog to a business services-based catalog. The second thing that we looked at changing was the financial models. Now, in most organizations today, they're consuming IT as a fixed resource. Whether you use it or you're not, you've paid for it, you're stuck with it. And this is a sunk cost, it's CapEx, it's not very well utilized in most organizations. So what we did is we worked with this particular client, and we developed what we call flexible resource units. What does flexible resource units mean? So for each type of service that the business wants to consume, that service needs some hardware, it needs some software, it needs some people, it may need some consulting services, et cetera. We package that all together into a financial unit. And that becomes a consumable unit. So the more they consume that service, they're directly consuming that financial unit, and that's how they get charged. And then we look at the organization. And this is where, I'll be honest with you, I've seen many organizations fail to achieve success because they fail to understand that as you need to change to new modernized models of doing things and disrupting in a digital manner, you need to look at your organizational culture, and you need to make some changes there as well. So from an organization perspective, we recommend that you change your mindset from being procurers of IT widgets and designer and builders of IT stuff to procurers of business services that your line of businesses are looking for. And all of those business services may have underlying patterns which are built with technology, and that technology could come from anywhere. It could come from us, it could come from some other provider as well. But the point is that from an organizational perspective, you need to focus on what we call our business services rather than IT widgets. And then finally, underpinning all of this is the technology infrastructure, the platform that allows you to then, have a service catalog where you can offer business services directly to your line of businesses. The business services that are important to them that they understand in their own business terms. There's got to be a platform, the architecture, the technology that allows you to have this financial model where your line of businesses can consume IT as a service and only pay for what they consume. And the CIO actually does act as a broker of IT services. And finally, you need a technology platform that will support this new dynamics in organization as well. So we think that these are very, very important tenets of moving to an enterprise IT as a service model, which will yield the benefits that our customers are aspiring and looking to get. Now, I have personally, over the last 4 years, implemented this across the globe with many different clients across industries. There are several large airlines that I'm working with that are using this model, especially because, as you all know, disruption in their business is very, very something that they don't want to even hear about. And they need very, very robust systems, and yet they also need to be able to be very agile to compete with everybody else. Financial services sector, government, education, retail under a lot of pressure, oil and gas under a lot of pressure, steel, all the materials companies under a lot of pressure are all coming to us asking for this sort of model to be developed for them. And because we have the reference architecture, we've developed it, we've delivered it several times, we know how to do this in a very repeatable fashion. So I'll continue to tell you some more stories as we go along the way. But the important thing is that I've just rattled off a lot of different industries, right? So how do you serve the needs of all of these industries? Well, what we have done is we've packaged the business services that we provide into like Lego blocks, okay? So we've got Lego blocks that provide different type of compute services on a pay-as-you-go basis. We've developed different types of storage services, resiliency as a service, backup as a service, network as a service, database as a service, mainframe as a service, and on and on and on, workplace as a service that businesses can consume on a pay-as-you-go basis. And what we do is, as we work across different industries, for example, if you're working with the manufacturing industry, we'll pick the right services from our systems, from our networking, from our resiliency, to package for them what is required by them. But it's all coming from the same platform. All of these consumable services are built upon this digital platform that I'm going to show you the reference architecture for here in a minute. But the important part I want to emphasize here is that there's a lot of standardization that we have built here. There was a time when we would actually tell the client that we will build anything for you that you want. And what we found was that we were not really doing a good service for them by doing that, because a few years later they would come back to us and say, we're in trouble because we're so customized, we are so unique that we don't know how to manage all of this and scale up, because we built these requirements. So what we want to do is build an architecture which is true today, and it's going to be helpful in the future as well. And the only way to do that is to build API-based consumable services that you could compose on demand depending on the industry and then provide it to our clients. So all of this is built on what we call our enterprise IT as a service architecture. And this is the architecture I've been referring to from earlier on. Now, everybody thinks of IBM as the big blue, and typically when IBMers present an architecture, it's got all blue stuff, meaning IBM-owned hardware, software, services, et cetera. So you would be interested to see that, I've got non-IBM-based stuff in here quite a bit. You see, you have Microsoft Azure, you have Amazon Web Services, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a reason for that. We at IBM are becoming more and more vendor agnostic. Yeah, we do have our own technologies as well, but we recognize that our clients' needs vary, and they have investments that are already made that we need to appreciate, and we need to ensure that their investments are something that they get good returns on. And therefore, the models that we have developed, the platform that we have developed actually works across multiple service provider platforms. Yes, we do have our own cloud platforms as well, but we work equally well in the same manner with other cloud providers as well. So on the very top, you would see those digital business workloads. These business workloads could be your core systems like accounts payables, accounts receivables, your run the business type of applications, or they could be new, born in the cloud, native to the cloud kind of environment that you've been building just recently using DevOps and agile development and continuous delivery. The idea is that this platform should be able to support end-to-end set of workloads, and that's how we have designed it. And we are certainly helping clients at all levels with this. I'm working with clients that have 135 data centers in over 40 countries that are using this platform, and I'm working with clients who have 800 servers, and they're using this platform as well. And the reason is because it is scalable, it's extensible, and it provides the advantages of IT consumption as a service, pay for what you use when you use it, across a multifaceted environment of vendors, including IBM. We are probably one of the biggest clients of Computer Associates or VMware or EMC or even Cisco because we buy so much from them. And therefore, what we have done is, as part of this platform, where we offer networking services, we have included services from VMware. If we do software-defined networks, we can help you with ACI using Cisco, or we can help you with NSX using VMware. If we are building a storage as a service environment for you, we can do that with IBM storage, and we can do that with EMC storage as well. Of course, it all comes at different functionality and price points, but the key thing is that the platform that we have built supports that, and we've extended and provided these services across the board to many of our clients. And that's why in the services area, you see IBM services and you see third-party services. Now, at the bottom, you'll see different flavors of cloud, but we also understand that most organizations may not be able to move to the cloud right away. And therefore, they're going to have a lot of their environments running in traditional IT. So that's why we have included traditional IT-based systems in our digital platform as well. Why? The reason is because many of the core applications run in traditional IT, and it's very, very hard to move them to somewhere else. However, we've built this common layer of brokerage, orchestration, automation, analytics that runs through all of these different environments so that we can help our clients manage these multiple environments using the same integrated service management umbrella. So whereas in the old world, if you have traditional IT environment, you have incident problem change, capacity, performance management that you're doing here, and then you have your private and public cloud environment, and you're doing all of that over here, doing incident problem change, configuration management. Now in the world that we have developed, the platform that we've developed, we've brought this together into an integrated service management portfolio that we can manage across this environment. And we do that using very, very advanced automation. We do that using predictive analytics and automation. And I'll give you some more examples of that as we go along. OK. So one of our clients is a food distributor in the US, and they carry perishable food. And they do 150,000 perishable food deliveries in a single day. And if their truck breaks down or their logistic operation breaks down, what happens is that food becomes not sellable, and it rots. And it's a big, big problem for them. Many of our clients are airlines, and I don't need to tell you how critical that business is. We've all been stuck at airports, and because something went down with the system. And many of our clients are banks as well. So what we've done is we've developed what we call this advanced automation technology using virtual robots that live in our IT as a service platform. So you could think about these virtual robots as IT specialists, IT architects, specialists in Oracle, specialists in Windows, whatever, specialists in DB2, Oracle, et cetera, et cetera. But these are software robots that through artificial intelligence we've powered them, and they're allowing us to remediate problems immediately as they happen in an automated fashion. And you see some of the results over here. The other thing that we've done with our client's environment in this multifaceted service provider environment is that we've created, based on AI, predictive analytics. So we can, just in the case of Coney, the lift maker that I talked about, where a lift will call out and say, hey, I'm about to go down, or something, there's something about to happen to me, and I need you to come and fix me. For all of the servers, all of the storage, all of the network, all of the applications, the middleware, the operating system, they call out and they tell us something is about to happen. Please come and fix me before it happens. So all of that automation and predictive analytics is something that we have built into this. And I myself have 30 patents, and many of them are around the automation and the analytics that we have built and that we are using to serve our clients across the globe. So that brings me to the work that we're doing today in the cognitive area. So you probably all have heard of the Watson computing technology that beat Jeopardy champions and has done many things since then. In the video that played, you probably just thought that we're working with oncologists to work on cancer solutions, and we're working in many areas as well. Well, we're also working with Watson and the cognitive technologies to really give us an edge over how we allow our clients to manage their IT environments, and especially manage these digital platforms that will provide them that edge that they're looking for, those aspired states of agility and flexibility and reliability and resiliency. All of those today are powered by the Watson-based technologies that we have created that help us manage these environments. And then the next thing I'll say is, this is where we are evolving to. So over here is our IT as a service environment. This is a smaller version of what I showed you earlier, where we had multiple cloud providers. We had a lot of digital services on top of that. And then we had common orchestration, automation, analytics, and everything around it. And then it's really something which has a brain now. And that brain is on the left-hand side, and it's our cognitive services. And it's built based on a common data lake. So IBM manages thousands of clients across the globe. Those thousands of clients have many types of hardware and software and technologies and applications, et cetera, pretty much from every vendor that exists on this planet, and even some that do not exist on this planet anymore. And so we've got data from them that we've captured, and we're able to correlate that and then drive innovation, understanding, reasoning, and learning, and apply it to managing this platform. And that really is the evolution that we are embarking upon. So finally, to wrap up, I started off by telling you that we're going to talk about architecting disruption. And obviously, everybody wants to be the disruptor rather than being disrupted, as we've seen many others in the organizations that we work with go through disruption. And I talked a little bit about having a platform that allows you to be that disruptor, that's agile, that's flexible, that's resilient, that you can work with a lot of big data with new cognitive intelligence and achieve the desired goals so that you could be the winners and not the ones that are disrupted. And obviously, some of the client examples I gave you hopefully showed you where clients are using us to get value from this work that we are doing. So that's it.